This is stage 10 of modeling the chamfered post table. We've got a drawer assembly, but it needs a knob, so we'll turn the knob in this stage. First of all, I want to have a hole for the shaft of the knob, and it's going to be a 1/2 inch shaft on the knob, and it will be located, a single knob located in the center of the drawer front. So I'm kind of touching that midpoint and then touching that midpoint, coming over here. And when I get that inference, I can click on the circle tool. It's a 1/2 inch diameter, so I'm going to type 1/4 radius. I forgot to open the front for editing, so let me do that. See if I can come back here and touch the midpoint here, come down, there it is, click, and bring it up 1/4 on the face, push pull back to the back, and I'll just put a fine center mark there so I know where to drill that, and close the component. Now for the knob, we need to create the profile, and I'll just start to create the profile here on just on the side face here. It's 1 inch in diameter, so I'm going to come down with a vertical line 1/2 inch, and the length of the knob is 1 15/16. So up a 1/2 inch, and I've got my rectangle face to make the knob profile. I'll make that a component drawer knob. Then I can now just bring that off of the face, bring it out here, and maybe just pull it up a little bit so if I look at it from the right view, I don't have the drawer assembly in the way. Now I need to create the profile shape. And I'll edit the component. Well, before I do that, I'm going to put some guidelines on here. The shaft is 1/2 inch in diameter, so I'm going to come down 1/4 from the center line. This is the center line up here. And then the shaft length is 15/16. Yeah, 15/16. And I need to come down 1/8 for the little shoulder. 1/8 for the shoulder. Now I can draw in the shaft and the shoulder here, and I'll just stop right there and delete. Oh, edit component, draw this edge, draw that line, for that little shoulder. Close the component and delete these guides. Before I do the art shapes, I will scale this up by a factor of 10. When we do these arcs, we get a lot of small facets in SketchUp, and SketchUp has some difficulty with really small facets. We'll end up with holes, gaps, so the best way to fix that right from the start is to scale up. Hit the scale tool, and I'm going to scale up by a factor of 10. Now those extra lines I had in there need to go away. Alright, so now I'm up a factor of 10 here, and I can start with the arc tool in the front, and I'll just come down from the here, maybe come back that far, something like that, and then create a tangent up here at the top. And I've got the front of the knob. Then there's another arc that comes up from this and comes out maybe somewhere in this range, and dips in quite a bit, maybe along those lines. And then there's a little flat area here in the turning, and then another shallow arc that finishes it off. Maybe something like that. Okay, that looks about right. And did I do that without editing? Yes, I did. Again. So I'm going to explode this component and select all and recreate it. Make component drawer knob. It will ask me, yes, I want to replace. So now I've got the full profile. I can edit it and get rid of the waste, this corner, and we're ready to turn this. I need a circle path for the follow me tool, and I want that to be not on the red, but I want it to be on the green. And how big? That doesn't matter how big, something like that. And I can select that path and pick the follow me tool, right click, edit component, click, and we've turned the knob. Okay, I'm done with the path, and I would like to retain a center line here. I need a center line, so I'm going to edit, and do I know where the center is? I'm going to undo, and here's the center. I'm going to edit the component, there's the center. I'm going to draw a line that protrudes through the front. I'd like to know where the center line is all the way through this turning. So that's now a part of the component. Close the component. Now I'll get rid of that circle. And there's the knob. Now, what I would like to do with the knob is, well, I need to bring it down to the real size. So I select it, hit the scale tool, and pick on the corners and type 0.1, so 1/10. I'm down to the proper size. And another thing that I want to do, let me just get rid of the scale tool, is relocate the axes for this component. The axes right now are way down here, and what I'd like to do is locate the axes where it connects to the socket in the front of the drawer front. So if I turn on X-ray, down in here I want the axes down in that location right there where it connects to the socket. So to help me relocate the axis, let me move this thing away from the drawer a minute, because it's hard to see with the drawer behind us there. And that's still going to be in the way. I'm going to go up higher. All right. To help find that center point, connection center point, I'm going to turn on X-ray, pick the tape measure tool, click on the center point, end point out here in the back, and then come in on the green axis. I'm going to tap the left arrow key and then touch this rim, which will be flush with the drawer front. Click, and I get a little point, a little guide point right at the place where I want to connect, and that's where I want the axes to be located. So I'm going to change axes, and I'm going to connect it right to that little guide point. Come out on the red axis, go back on the green axis. Now the axes are at the connection point. X-ray, and when I pick the drawer knob from the components dialog box over here, then the move tool connects to that axis origin, and I can now just connect to that guide point, and I've got the knob right connected in just the perfect place, and you can see it coming through the center of the socket. So that completes the drawer construction.